Hello, and thank you for tuning into this month's unique webinar from SPEC Innovations, our 2023 Summer Intern Special. My name is Taylor Duffy, and I will be the moderator for this webinar. First, I'd like to go over some housekeeping. Feel free to email your questions to info@specinnovations.com, and we will get back to you, as this is a recorded webinar. You can also interact with us on LinkedIn through the Innoslate users group or through Twitter using the handle @SPEC Innovations. The webinar and slides will be made available to you, so keep an eye out for it in your inbox. Now I would like to introduce you to our presenters, Dominic Galarza, Amir Abrari, Chris Howard, and Carlos Urbina. In today's webinar, our interns will share and demo some of the things they each worked on this summer, from NASA's Moon to Mars project to Innoslate user experience improvements through our Help Center and Cameo research, to cybersecurity implementation research to meet standards, to software development improvement through testing. This is just the beginning of what our interns completed this summer, and they're excited to share more about it with you. And now I'll hand over the controls to Dominic, and he'll get us started.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Dominic Galarza. I attend George Mason University, and I'm a systems engineering student going for my master's degree. And here at SPEC, I'm a systems engineering intern. And over here, I have the link to my LinkedIn and a picture of me right there. So this time, during my summer, I've been put into 3 main projects: a Moon to Mars project, a Christmas Special project, and an internal Innoslate-related work. The Moon to Mars project was based off the architecture that NASA recently released, outlining their plan to reestablish human presence on the moon, plan and chart out courses, and eventually accomplish the overall goal of having humans be on and walk the surface of Mars. I was tasked with reading through all their released papers and sources, documenting it all on Innoslate, and transforming their contextual ideas to Innoslate diagrams and documents to showcase that our tool is able to assist in the execution of NASA's architecture. This was definitely one of my favorites since I'm personally really fascinated with space and all the opportunities that come along with it. NASA really does have big plans for the future, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for them. The Christmas Special project was an idea brought up by the marketing team to help promote Innoslate to a wide audience that's easy and fun to understand. For the sake of not spoiling too much what we have in store, I won't go really into details of the project, but overall, my tasking was mostly about, if I were in Santa's shoes, how would I utilize Innoslate for my North Pole duties for Christmas? This was definitely an interesting project, which made me think outside the box, or the gift box, many different times, and I'm really excited to showcase it fully later on this year. And lastly, I helped with the new updates that Innoslate has been going through. Specifically, I was in charge with designing and writing requirements for the new features that we want to add on, including the computable attribute field, a first step guide for new Innoslate users, and updating our requirement quality checker to match our criteria with the International Council of Systems Engineers, or INCOSE's, Guide to Writing Requirements. So this is the dashboard from the project of the Moon to Mars architecture. Over here, you can see this is not a typical dashboard. You see the typical widgets on a normal dashboard, but I modified this heavily to really just tell the story of the Moon to Mars architecture. And so I kind of laid it out in a linear story. So this is the original PDF to the architecture. If you click that, it takes you to this here. And as you can see, this is 158 pages. So it's quite a hefty source. So what I did was take all the pages from here to try and lay it out in a summarized fashion on this dashboard here. And so you can see they first go into the glossary and terms, and I have those over here, the abbreviations as well. And so, like I said, I just try to tell a linear story going from the huge PDF to the summarized dashboard here. And so they have the different segments of their mission. The 4 different segments are laid out here. I have a diagram of the different segments as well that you can click on and go into if you want to find more information. And so it continues on through this dashboard here. And as you can see, I created different diagrams to match the different aspects of these segments here. And so from one of these diagrams here, you can click on the diagrams. I have created an example of how one of these diagrams can be translated into Innoslate. And so from the PDF here, we have an example of a figure here. And so it shows the objectives that the Moon to Mars architecture has and how it breaks down into different categories and characteristics and use cases. And so along with me trying to prove that this can be translated in Innoslate, I've created a document here, or a diagram, I should say, that translates the figure to Innoslate. And so everything here is laid out as well. We have the different objectives, along with the characteristics and needs, the functions, and the use cases. And so if a user wanted to go more in depth on one of these use cases, they can click on this, find the name, and if the description is available, it'll be found here. And so this comes to prove that all of the different diagrams and figures shown here can be perfectly translated into LML and Innoslate. One more aspect that Innoslate can be utilized to help the Moon to Mars architecture and understanding it is through the database shown here. And so one really cool feature that Innoslate has is that you can create different queries to help funnel all your information in the database. And so over here, you could find the link to the original framework document. You could download it from here, or you can find the different saved queries found here. So you have the different use cases shown here, the different functions of the architecture, and so on. All the other figures and objectives can be found here as well.
Hello, everybody. My name is Amir Abrari, and I go to George Mason as well. I'm also a system engineer undergrad student on an accelerated master's track. I'm an intern at SPEC Innovations, and as you can see, my LinkedIn URL is over there. So to go over some of my summer activities this summer, I had, again, 3 different tasks, one shared with Dom and Chris. So to start up, I had a completely individual task of taking over the Help Center. My goal was to restructure of the platform to increase the usability of the customer satisfaction and have numerous updates and documentations to our existing documents that I need to work on. I had the Christmas Special project, like Dom mentioned, that, again, we're really excited to go over later on this year. And I also worked on the Cameo translation research on the Cameo software and conceptualized advancements that we can make in Innoslate for cross-compatibility. Now, to start on the Help Center revamp, it was a task that was given to me in the beginning of this summer. I was able to take lead of the project and independently create a plan to enhance the Help Center that we had already established. The team at SPEC gave me full autonomy and privilege to take control and start a total revamp of our Help Center platform. I was able to organize the structure of the platform, as well as update hundreds of articles to create a better user experience for Innoslate users that go to Help Center for help. Additionally, my work was crucial in enhancing the Help Center to its best, which was an important step for our software team in being able to create the Innoslate Help ChatGPT feature. The many articles I have written and organized during this summer were crucial, and it was very important to me to have a critical part in helping the software team and the marketing team be able to have a good platform out there to show our customers. I really enjoyed this continuous challenge to be able to create the best possible product and being able to take control and make the platform better. So moving on to the Christmas project, like Dom mentioned, it was brought to us by the marketing team to help support the Innoslate software's capability to a wide range of users, showing that it is truly easy and fun to use the Innoslate software. Our task, this was an independent job given to Dom, Chris, and I, and it was for us to plan Santa's Christmas. Now, I don't want to spoil too much, but we are really excited to show how Santa was able to use Innoslate to plan this upcoming holiday season for the kids all around the world. Finally, another task that I was able to work on this summer was my research on the Magic Draw Cameo software. Cameo is one of the leading softwares and system engineering products out there in the system engineering world, just like Innoslate. And at Innoslate, we wanted to make sure that all users felt comfortable and welcomed on the platform. A lot of users come from Cameo, go to Cameo, and work in between these lines. So we wanted to make sure that our product is able to work close with Cameo to create a good experience overall for all users, not just this small niche. As a result of that, I was assigned this task to research some particular ways, and in order to be able to create appropriate translations between the two softwares. This translation is important because Cameo and Innoslate can be very different, but have similar functionalities within the system out world. So it was important for me to be able to create and conceptualize such advancements within our interior coding and relationships being made on Innoslate to be able to be compatible and be able to model these system engineering processes through a direct mapping between the two softwares. Overall, I was really excited and happy to be able to work on a wide range of tasks while being at work and being able to learn every day. Okay, to show some of the work I was doing this summer, first we got to go access the Help Center. In order to access the Help Center, we can go to our SPEC Innovations website, onto our Innoslate tab, and onto our Help Center tab over here. So here is the new and revamped Help Center that I've been working on this summer. We have our many different categories and getting started, our dashboards, reviews, our different widgets, the tools we use, the integration tools, administration guides, Sapatra user guides, and the recent releases. So my work was to combine and collect as much information as I can and make our interface as simple and as easy to be able to use for our users. Our dashboards are general views that we have on Innoslate. Our views are the smaller sections that we go into, such as the documents view, the compilation view, the test suite view. A part of my work was to also make sure that our work is completely updated on the Help Center. It's difficult to always stay on track. So my job was to go through our Innoslate product and one by one accommodate that to our Help Center. For example, here we're able to go ahead and see our many subcategories, such as our the account help, our platform walkthrough, our concepts, navigating through Innoslate, how to manage our projects, our notifications, a list of our reports, and our cross-project relationships. Every single one of these articles we're looked through were organized in different ways and are now open to users in many different ways. Especially here in the account access, we can go through our sign up and sign ins, use these hyperlinks to quickly get to where you want to look at. And now this way, we're able to take into factor multiple features that we have. Everything's noted so the users can learn as much as they want on our platform. We also have our tutorial videos that are updated and are put in place correctly to be able to be used from our users to watch these videos whenever they want to get even more help. We also have this new feature, and it's the next button. It's something that I was able to create on all articles that we have, is that we can now access the next article right here in the bottom of every article. That way users can have a step-by-step learning experience through our articles instead of going back and maybe losing the article that we're looking at. It's like a book now that you can read, slowly but surely learn about what Innoslate is. We have many other features. We have many views, as you can see here, and it's something that we recommend every user, no matter the expertise, to explore and learn from, as there's a lot of information from our new features to some of the original first things that we did in our software from the very, very beginning. Now, going on to the Innoslate help chatbot that I mentioned earlier, my work was again very crucial in making sure that our index database is updated to what we need. For example, if a user wants to learn about compilation view, now they're able to do so by using the chatbot. Before, they were not able to because our index was not to where it should be. Now it is where it should be, and it's completely updated so the users can use it to their advantage whenever they need. To use it, we go to Project Preferences, to Innoslate Help, and now here we can ask Innoslate Help anything we want regarding Innoslate. For example, I can ask it, how do I create an activity diagram? Thanks to our software team here at Innoslate, they were able to create a full index of our Help Center, drag it into our database in Chatbot, and train the ChatGPT bot that we have to give us the best answer based on what we have on Help Center. It can answer many different questions, but one thing to note is that Innoslate Help is fully operable only based on Innoslate information. If you wanted to ask it questions regarding what's today's date or historical questions about a movie, it is not able to do so. That's what we have the AI assistant for. This AI assistant can be used for general questions like you would ask the normal ChatGPT AI program. Again, the Innoslate Help is used in many ways. It can be used to help you understand what Monte Carlo simulation is, and that's some information that we have in our Innoslate Help Center. Finally, before I go, I wanted to show you guys that we are able to search about information that we want on Innoslate Help Center. You can simply search and you have multiple search results. You can either click them here or click enter. It'll give you a list of all the information that include the keyword Monte Carlo.
Okay, so my name is Chris Howard. I go to Virginia Tech, and I'm going to be a sophomore in this upcoming year. My major is computer engineering with a focus in chip scale integration. And here at SPEC Innovations, I'm a system engineering intern. The main three things that I've been working on this summer are cybersecurity implementation research. We've been working on a Christmas special project and also IEEE networking and design. So just to start off for cybersecurity implementation, so far I've been researching tons of different cybersecurity standards, and using the Innoslate requirements document, I'm able to parse large documents of a lot of requirements. So for example, if your business or company has certain requirements they need to meet in order to work with a certain organization, you can use Innoslate to do that. So I'm working to implement those with the requirements document, and you can see a couple of these options here, so such as NIST 800-171 R2, and then there should be R3 in these upcoming weeks, then ISO 27001, and a ton of others that I can mention also. As for the Christmas project, we've been working on a little bit of a fun thing, just as an example to show a lot of people that the potential that you can use with this program, the software. So we sort of used Santa as a systems engineer. How does he deliver all of his gifts? How does he prepare for Christmas? As for the IEEE networking and design competition, we've been working with an IEEE like supervisor essentially, who coordinates a bunch of these design competitions, networking competitions, all of these different things. And a big goal is for SPEC to work with IEEE, as IEEE is a pretty big company in the space, and they carry a lot of influence. So we can have a lot of ethics discussions with them, a lot of discussions on how to get our software out into the hands of more people, so we can, you know, get systems engineering into the hands of everybody on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so this is going to be the first cybersecurity standard we're looking at. It's called CMMC. And there's a bunch of different documents here, but we're just going to worry about a couple of them for now. So for now, I'm just going to get this A1 document, click into it here. This is going to be your main topic of, you know, everything. Everything else in this project relates to this document somehow. So you can see the overview of what CMMC is, what it does, the requirements that you need to accomplish in order to be approved for it. And then as you can see in this document here, there's a bunch of different like requirements that you're going to have to complete manually within your company, or you can work with a third-party organizer in order to fill a bunch of these out. So I have all of these just put into a table here in order to sort of create a compilation for you to look at, which definitely helps a lot because all of these requirements are sort of spread out across different websites, different links within websites, everything like that. So this is basically just a compilation. And then all of these other documents within this project folder are essentially templates in order to help you figure out what needs to be done, what I need to do in order to achieve this standard. Okay. So I can also move on to FedRAMP, which is another bigger one. This is definitely one for someone looking to invest more heavily into like future cybersecurity, especially with government contracting. So I can just go ahead and click into this first thing here. This is also similar, but we just looked at with CMMC. So you can see that this document has a lot of information on it, some template sort of style stuff here. And this goes on for a couple hundred pages essentially, where you have a bunch of different requirements that all relate to each other. And then if we go ahead and exit the document here, you can see that all of these other documents might be like a table helping you keep track of what has been done and what needs to be done. But overall, FedRAMP is definitely one that is going to be a more intrusive process, I would say, than the other standards. But what it does do is allow you to work with bigger organizations, especially the Department of Defense and contracts like that, especially if you're keeping Department of Defense data stored on your own company's like hardware. Okay, moving on to one of the most important ones, which is probably the biggest one actually in terms of relevance, is going to be the NIST standard here. And this is just a really big document. It has a bunch of requirements, and this usually gets revised every, I'd say like year or so by the sound of it. So this is publication 800-171, and it's revision 2 of this, and revision 3 is coming in a couple weeks here actually. So this revision was quite a while ago just because of the whole COVID thing. I know it's a little while ago, but you know, we're still getting caught up from that. So this is basically going to be your baseline for CMMC, FedRAMP, and almost every cybersecurity standard that exists is going to be based on requirements that NIST essentially derives. So there's a bunch of information here, just random information that you want to read through if you're thinking about going through one of these things. But essentially, this document will go through the reasoning behind cybersecurity and the methodology behind how cybersecurity works. So if we scroll far enough down here, you're going to see all these different requirements, and almost all of these requirements in each of these sections is going to be a source for one of your requirements in FedRAMP and in CMMC and in almost every other cybersecurity standard that exists references a NIST document. Oftentimes it's this 171 version, but it can be any of the other ones as well. So all of these different things they're sort of derived from this document.
Hey everybody, I'm Carlos Urbina. I am going to be a rising senior at Virginia Tech studying computer science, and this is my first year interning as a software engineer intern at SPEC Innovations. There's my LinkedIn, and then that's a picture of me. So what have I worked on this summer? I've been part of the software engineering department here, mainly tasked with our automated testing suite for Innoslate. So testing is a super important part of the software engineering process, always ensuring quality and safety for Innoslate. So I began the summer just getting up to speed with our testing system, which uses an automated tool called Selenium in the Java programming language. And you can see a GIF of that there. It's like kind of a tool that'll control the browser for you, acting as a user, doing behavior that a user would normally do in Innoslate, and then testing for anything that could go wrong. So after a lot of learning, I was able to quickly and efficiently write new tests for Innoslate, and then as well as repair broken or outdated test cases, which happens all the time as we're constantly updating and changing Innoslate. I specifically remember the first time I wrote my own test class from scratch, which was like a previously untested dashboard view. And then another really satisfying moment I had this summer was when I optimized the test that was going really slow, and it cut 30 seconds to a minute off of the execution time of dozens of tests. So over a long period of time, that'll add up and save our team a lot of time with testing. So far, I've completed 49 individual issues, which are fixes or new additions to the testing suite so far. And I feel like I understand the company and Innoslate and the whole field of software engineering better since starting to work here at SPEC Innovations. So like I said, Java Selenium has been the main testing framework that we used here, but I got the unique opportunity to research and explore new frameworks that could potentially be an upgrade for us in the future. So after a period of research, I found a JavaScript framework called Playwright, which fits a lot of our requirements that we're looking for. And I got to begin experimenting with that to see how it worked. So I got to individually look at the documentation, recreate some of our older tests to compare performance and ease of writing tests. And I found that it has a lot of promise and may simplify our work in lots of major ways through new modern extensions and plugins that we didn't have before. So my goal before the end of the summer is to entirely transform a few or a handful of our older sections of tests into the new Playwright tests and compare their differences both in syntax and performance. So that's been really rewarding, just having some free reign in what I'm doing for my tasks and being able to apply my previous experience into a new situation where I can help lead the way for our future testing efforts. Finally, this summer has been my first experience in the software engineering field with sprint cycles or the agile development. Our software team typically runs through agile or sprint cycles of a few weeks up to a month, not including major updates. And the main stages usually are a short planning period, and then the main feature implementation, and then testing and last-minute fixes before deployment. During these cycles, I use the majority of the time to clean and update the testing suite, always trying to keep it up to date with what the other software engineers are working on. And that way, when it's time to test and fix things at the end, things will be as seamless as possible. So it's been really awesome working with the software department and my fellow intern here. And since the nature of our work demands really close collaboration and communication, this has totally helped me a lot to get help or advice whenever I need it. And our frequent communication ensures that us interns always know what our tasks and goals are and how they will be assisting everybody else. Okay, so another big task that I worked on this summer is integrating our whole testing system with Innoslate's own test center. So as you can see, we have this whole category of tests. In this case, this would be our tests that we wrote for the DODAF part of Innoslate. And there's all these different nested sections. And through this tool called the Innoslate Remote SDK for Java, we can remotely update these test cases. As you can see, they have statuses as in passed or failed. We can remotely update these from inside our code so that they will automatically update. So as an example here, I can go ahead and run one of these automated tests over here for the DODAF dashboard. And you'll see that pop up here. So the automated test is running. And then as it hits each checkpoint in the code, it will send an update request to Innoslate, and then we'll see that reflected here in a second. So the other intern and myself basically went into every single section of tests that we have and added these remote calls to the test center. Okay, so there it goes. And now if we update, we should see that I just ran the first section here. All 10 of these tests right here got updated from not run to passed. And that's why we have them labeled as automated. They're going to be automatically updated as they're run. And then this is the case for several or all of our test sheets at this point. So every testing suite we have, as we run it, it'll get updated here.
Thank you, interns. We would like to thank you again for watching. As a reminder, we will be following up with you very soon to send you a link to the recording on YouTube and the presentation slide deck. We hope you can join us for our next webinar, Building a Digital Thread, on Thursday, September 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to register even if you are unable to make it to receive the slides recording. We also encourage you to visit our website and our blog, as well as connect with us on social media. That concludes today's presentation. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to see you at our next webinar.